Vito's here to defend Mr. Girl, okay?
That's the thing, is like, she's still there.
Just rehash things that he'd already said.
I don't think Mr. Girl's perspective on that is wrong at all.
That's called her breaking up with him. He didn't say that. There's a limit to your limits, but you don't have evidence or reasoning. You're just going, Mr. Girl is a psycho. Mr. Girl's a psycho. I hate this guy.
Yeah, so if you gave me the opportunity, I wouldn't feel bad about it.
Right, there's something wrong with these guys. What is going on?
This one was a mistake.
This is why you're covering it? Well, kind of. I'm more covering it, to be honest, for the Vito stuff that's still coming up.
People around it. Like, this guy is legitimately, like, with his life, so it's probably a little awkward,
and that's because this is, like, how Vito put it, which is, like, internally, he actually feels like he needs to go to these steps because, like, something inside of him, like, this isn't...
He's just committed.
He's just on 10. He needs to save the world.
Yes, when he sees like a moral injustice, he has to fix it, and he will not stop.
No.
The example Vito gave, I'm telling you what Vito said. The example Vito gave was if he finds like a wallet on the street, he will literally like ruin. He will get fired from his job, skipping work to try to find the person whose wallet that is.
He's
like,
Homelander,
that's like,
bro.
He's like
he's the hero we need, but
we
we can't stand.
That's like the that's what Vito thought about him when Vito was talking about it. Vito, I think, went to high school with him, by the way. Yeah,
that's pretty crazy. Yeah, and listen, the whole point, Wes. I get it. You know what? I gotta be honest. I could watch Max's worst moments again.
Mr. Picklejuice in chat says, J-Stalk, clip the I'm a pedophile line from Mr. Girl and put it as Destiny's Discord join sound.
And as long as you're there to cackle hysterically through the whole thing, because that is honestly, the most entertaining. The thing is, like, these arguments that he's having, the reason I don't know, I'm not going to say this isn't scripted, because this could be, for all I know. I personally don't think it is, but I know that he is capable of being like this and like being super
Destiny made a really
childish.
good point. Not all of it. It went way too far. But initially about how having all these feelings inside and giving them out, and not many people do it, but he'll do it all the time, right? I feel like I'm the same person. Every now and then I'll talk about kid for a bit. Every now and then I'll talk about dog. But like normally you can't do it all the time because it just feels weird. You feel gross, but he doesn't care. He's willing to be the champion and do it for you all the time. And you just want to, say he's great when he's doing it, when it works for you. No, he's great always. Not just when you can stomach it. He's always the fucking hero. Not when you need him, but always.
You just don't know yet that the reason that this is his soapbox is because he genuinely has, I think, like Steven said, like amplified emotions over everything, and he thinks everyone does. I don't think he can fathom a world where people like are different from him, and I think it's because he needs to justify like him having these amplified emotions. So he just truly believes that everyone does, and that like he's not doing anything wrong by acting on them, by like acting them out.
He needs to do it because other people don't have the courage to do so.
That's genuinely what he thinks. Yes.
And he's right.
I don't think he entertains the idea that he's like genuinely just emotionally more volatile than
he may have like
person.
a psychotic
Much
ego
more.
and like think he's a hero, which sucks because you never want the hero to think that. But he actually is the fucking hero.
I think what Wes is saying is he doesn't care who this guy is.
Wes is so based. Wes is so dude. I'm so glad Wes was here for this. First time seeing Mr. Girl sitting on J-Stalk's stream saying that Mr. Girl is a fucking hero. Just so good, so good.
Person doesn't care if he's a good person. This is really funny. And he can enjoy this, and he doesn't have to
even
have any...
with Destiny coming in and saying, "Oh, don't like Mr. Girl. You guys can't like Mr. Girl," and he's just like, "That guy's a hero."
Yeah, he doesn't have to have any.
He's a necessary evil.
Stuff outside.
Yeah, and I also don't give a fuck that much. I'm not going to investigate the guy's life. Hey, you got to say for the art from the artist. Hitler, if he was a great painter but still could 11 million Jews, he'd still have good paintings, right? This guy, he killed a lot of people.
Hold on a minute. If Hitler said my art is killing Jews, would you be like, you got to separate the art from the artist?
Wait, hold on. What?
If Hitler said my art is killing 6 million Jews, would you say, well, he's an artist? Like, yeah, you got to separate the art from the artist.
Depending on how he did it. I don't know.
But it's okay to just not know what a psychopath is. It's okay, but you should admit that.
Like, I'd have to see the art.
Not literally killing them, but like...
If that's the price that was needed to be paid for his art to flourish? It was truly hero levels art?
Oh, it's Vito.
What's Vito? What's up, Vito?
Yo, how am I not in this video at all? It's not fair.
You were in the Turkey Tom video. You're definitely on Twitter or something. Yeah, I definitely saw your name pop up somewhere.
I'm the #1 Mr. Girl super fan.
I'm #2, baby.
Bobby going nutto right now, just on Twitter. I saw him fighting with Augie, if that's what you mean.
I should be spotlighted.
I'm trying to figure out.
Here we go. Vito's here. Vito's here to defend Mr. Girl. Okay.
I'm trying to fucking enlighten them, but they're fucking sheep. They're fucking boys that can't understand. Little fucking idiots.
I mean, he's here's what I'll say, man. It's like all of YouTube is guys agreeing with each other, you know? Just like, yeah, I hate, the bad stuff. I hate the pedophiles too. I hate them more than you even. And then one guy goes like, I kind of feel bad for him. I was like, what? Oh, you can't say that. And I don't know, man. I would rather a guy be crazy and honest than the kind of fakery that profits on YouTube. Just Mr. Beast being like, I've never had an opinion in my life.
Mm.
Oh my god. How is he still a thing?
How is he saying he wants to be president? Mr. Beast, if you want to be president, I need you to say one political opinion. I hate these interviews with Mr. Beast. Go like, hey, you know you've talked about wanting to be president? Okay, what should we do with the Mexicans? And make him answer.
Hunger Games.
Yeah, Hunger Games.
He would make some sick fucking videos out of it. I'd vote for him.
You could do some sick content with that. Absolutely.
Want to be president? Who did you vote for? He can't say it because it would decimate half his audience. He's not a real person. Mr. Girl is the realest person you'll ever meet. He's a little too real.
How about that?
This is like exactly the shit from fucking like 2016. Like the people who are like, you know what? I don't know anything about this Trump guy, what he actually stands for, what his policies are going to be, but he's not the establishment, so I'm going to give him a shot. You know, it's time to just vote away.
Yeah, but that's for president. Trump on the
dude, it's so the Jason Spurging. It's such a stupid point. Like, obviously, yeah, you shouldn't vote for your president based on just being like an entertaining guy who says it how it is, or whatever the fuck. But that's totally fine for YouTubers.
This was amazing. Just don't make Mr. Girl president, and we're fine.
I'm saying the reasoning is similar. Like, you know what? I like this thing just because, you know,
is based for entertainment.
Mr. Girl would be an okay president because he's a little too. He's a little too moral.
Oh my god.
Never mind.
Hold on.
He'd be okay.
I've listened for an hour. This is a crazy take. Hold on. I'm not sure if I can commit to this one yet. I'm on board with the Max train.
He'd be better. If Mr. Beast was president, we'd have a genocide within like 3 months.
You know what? I argued, Wes, that you just don't have enough experience with this guy because you just got on this roller coaster. Vito, you went to high school with this person. Nobody's been on the roller coaster longer than you. Maybe we're all fucking destined to arrive where Vito's at right now.
Because listen, the roller coaster starts awesome, then it gets really scary, and then you think you're gonna die. You get off the roller coaster, and you're like, holy shit, I'll never do that again. I almost fucking died. And then you're like, man, but I felt something. And then you look at it through a different lens, you get back on the roller coaster, and it's like, this is what life's all about.
Okay, Nocturnal Nick, you're just like showing how low IQ your engagement is here. Mr. Girl only right because his stuff typically banal presented dramatically. Like before, whoa guys, I can't believe you're saying that out loud. People have sexual needs from their partner's gay. But no one else is saying it. Turkey Tom has made a whole video denying that these are things. Denying everything Mr. Girl's saying. So you can sit there and go, oh, it's so banal, but people people straight disagree with it. They blanket disagree with it. They go insane on it. Yeah, I say it, but I'm the one Mr. Girl fan with a fucking YouTube channel.
It's the ups and the downs, but you got to enjoy the ride the whole time. And then Vito's got that point where he's riding the fucking roller coaster every day. He's got a season fucking pass, bro. And you pussies are too scared to go back to the fucking amusement park.
Look, I'll say this. Mr. Girl's relationship with women...
Commentary, quote-unquote, documentaries are banal, okay?
I do not approve of some of the...
I do not approve.
Have you guys gone through is it the Real Girl doll or the Real Doll experience?
It's on the video, yeah.
That was the moment I was like, wow, this guy's just putting it all out there.
She's in though.
But here's the
problem.
But here's the question though.
No, banal.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Is like, she's still there. You know.
See.
Now you can say well, because she's held emotionally hostage by this bearded psychopath. But I would make the argument. I'd go, I don't know, man. These are two weird art school kids who probably get off on being crazy. You know, maybe that's how you make that work.
Yeah, she's in on the. She's a part of it. She's a mastermind herself. To be honest, she doesn't get enough praise.
She's also she's actually a incredibly talented artist in her own right. So
she is.
I think that's true.
Yeah.
Visual.
I'm trying to make t-shirt designs for me, and for all of you who have backed my comic book Super Killer, you will be receiving a trading card designed by Jalen. So
when's that arriving?
Enjoy that.
Well, that's very cool. You get rid of the. Oh, never mind. Sorry. Nah,
this is some great psychopath art right here, man. You gotta love that.
Make this?
Yeah,
I think so, right?
Yeah, this is
she
like
really captured my lack of tits in this photo.
Who are you?
It was on here.
No, guys, it's banal.
It's
look
like
it up.
philosemitism.
No,
she,
look it up.
Stan.
Yo, what the fuck is forethought?
Very much time.
What?
It's an interesting thought experiment on a number of levels.
I tuned out for a second. I tuned back in at that, and I was lost.
What did Chud do to end up in this too? He went after Lav. He attacked Lav. He was white blood selling Lav. He was white blood selling Max. He was telling Max, listen, you're going about this the wrong way, mate. Look, you should have contacted me and got in touch with me. I could have helped you with this. Say banality right now. Banality.
Do we want to finish the last 7 minutes of this video? We just go through it pretty quick.
Yeah.
Up until the next point.
Do it.
Very subtle
Tom, right?
throwing under the bus,
Yep,
but it's
Turkey Tom.
happened.
White blood cell is a term that Max used for Destiny orbiters who would reflexively defend Destiny like a white blood cell when they detect a disease.
Yeah.
I know it's happening.
I can't listen to you. I need to take a break.
Okay, do you want to play Smash?
No, I just want to be alone.
Okay. This is possibly the most
Yeah.
Oh my god, my mic was muted. I'm dying.
Bro, how can you not laugh at having an argument with your
So
fucking
good.
girlfriend to the core and going, you want to play Smash?
It's so good.
No,
That's
that
the
he like
funniest
keeps
thing anyone's ever
recording
said.
while she goes in the other room and starts
Cry.
sobbing, and he records
This
it and
little
puts it in the
smirk.
video.
I'm telling you, it's a cinematic masterpiece, bro.
Listen, I think it's funnier if
That was
none of
so
us laugh,
funny.
but
Okay.
Wes, and Wes laughs like uncontrollably. Like the rest of the room is silent. It's just Wes
I'm
like
sorry.
losing his shit.
I was muted there. I
funny.
started dying the second she started sobbing that other room. He's like talked about it too.
Thing that
Like,
Max ever
uploading that
posted
part
online.
and maxing the volume was crazy.
Because it's part of the story that he's crafted in this. That his betrayed girlfriend is, oh, woe pitiful me because he fucked a piece of plastic. And you retards are falling for it.
Wait. Hold on. You caught that he wants to fuck her like she's a doll too, like she's dead.
Yes.
Right?
You understand that, right?
Okay,
And
okay.
she's
Yes.
annoyed because even if she moves or
That's
if she
what makes
looks
it
like
so
she's
funny.
enjoying it,
He brought
upset.
it back in. He found a way to connect her and the doll. He's fucking Martin Scorsese. Look, I'm watching just the Shutter Island.
This is possibly the most revealing thing that Max ever posted online. However much in his element he seems to be in his writing, videos, or music, it doesn't come close to painting as full a picture of who he actually is as when he's arguing with Shaylin, and that picture looks grim. Interestingly enough, they both acknowledge that the way the conversation is going makes him look like an emotional manipulator. Coincidentally, in an article on his little Shame Lane blog from 2011, which was also an adult's toy review, Max wrote this. Hannah's mom freaked out. After reading my entire blog, she brought it to a battered women's shelter, where the workers looked over it and told her I am textbook abusive. Then she called all of Hannah's friends and told them to help her make Hannah break up with me. But enough about Hannah's mom. Let's talk about the Monique Alexander realistic fleshlight. I have to say here that they did not break up,
incredible
and
writing.
she eventually went on to marry.
What is that?
That's just like-
on this one.
Bro,
That's
as a
so
guy who like
funny.
used to read like Vice magazine, like telling a story about how you emotionally abuse your girlfriend or whatever, and they're going, but let's talk about a pocket pussy. That's funny. That's like funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is Kino. That's hilarious.
Yeah, so
I'm just
long as
saying-
it's fake.
The writing, the story was fake, by the way. Taking to a battered woman's shelter to get their opinion on it, that's fucking
I don't-
funny.
It's possible that happened. I have no idea.
That didn't fucking happen. Who would respond to that? It's like, oh, my daughter's
Not
being
funny
abused.
if real. Me human says in chat. He says not funny if real. That's where
Still
you're wrong.
funny.
That is
Literally
way
still funny.
funnier if it's literally if it's actually real.
Still
That is
funny.
way funnier. Okay, if she actually took it to a battered women's shelter to be like, can you give me an
Yeah, what
opinion
y'all
on
think about this?
my daughter's
Give me a
boyfriend's
peer
blog?
review.
I'm sorry. It becomes way funnier. It's more fucked up, but it is way funnier. Okay.
Race guy for reasons I cannot comprehend. Regardless, it is noteworthy that Max has been under suspicion of mistreating his partners far before he ever got with Shaylin. However, I need to note here that these kinds of interactions between them were so common that people made entire compilations out of Mr. Girl's mistreatment of Shaylin.
That's a stupid question and should tell you that what you need to do is talk about your feelings, not ask more dumb. I understand that you have some other retarded argument you want to make that has nothing to do with that. That's not why I'm screaming at you.
It's horrible for me because, like, I already feel bad about it. Like, why would you do that? I mean, I know why because you explained it to me, but it's horrible.
I assume Shaylin eventually changed her mind about not wanting the interview to be part of this video, because if that's not the case, then he ultimately did violate her boundaries by posting it. Despite all of this, they're still together to this day, with Shaylin largely supporting his crusade against Destiny, which a lot of people chalk up to some form of Stockholm Syndrome. After Max messaged every single girl Destiny followed on Instagram, and even resorted to reaching out to other orbiters he'd previously beefed with to try and scramble for any source of dirt he could get, in March of 2023, he released an article with over 100,000 words on Destiny. Unsurprisingly, it had no measurable effect, as it just rehashed things he'd previously said, and were far
Hold
from
on,
the
pause.
secrets in
Vito.
the first place.
Do you remember the thesis of this 100,000 words?
Just rehash things that he'd already said, like that whole section we just read earlier. I don't remember which tab I had it in. But like that whole section we just read earlier where he was, you know, stringing Anna along.
No, I don't.
Okay, I'll let Turkey Tom get there.
simply gigantic stretches about how Destiny having people argue against each other on his stream was a kind of gladiatorial match. Regardless of whether
zero engagement.
His community are overall good or bad entities, it's clear that this was motivated by an obsessive vendetta over their personal issues with each other. Fortunately, this effectively closed the chapter on their public spat, and only after this came out did Max move on, but not to better things. In the same month as his article came out, Max was interviewed about his latest online activity, and the topic of his ex-wife was brought up. Specifically, he was asked about having posted nude images of his ex-wife, Hannah, online in the context of whether that constituted revenge or not, which he had a very tough time answering. Given that they're now divorced, I'm not so sure she's okay with it, but then again, not that much is known about their relationship. Now that his war effort against Destiny had reached this uneventful end, Max could go back to talking about what he really finds interesting. In August of 2023, he posted an article titled, "People Shouldn't Go to Jail for Looking at CP." In it, he says, "I enjoy cranking it to Cardi B music videos, cartoons about incest, and stories about men being violated by their mothers. I also used to watch real adult films, but 6 months ago, I stopped. I believe the financial incentives and pressures involved in it make it so the performers can't truly consent. I say this as someone who has been in front of the camera a few times myself. If we get universal basic income someday, and I know the performers are not choosing between homelessness or butt stuff..."
Wait, isn't this the Vosh argument against like people's moral outrage against CP? This is just the Vosh argument, isn't it? That like there's no ethical consumption under capitalism, so why are you mad about CP if like child labor had to be used to build your processor? I think this is literally that exact. I think it's just the same thing.
I'll start watching.
Well, this is an argument against all pornography. Like he's at the point he says he thinks all pornography is immoral at this point.
Yeah. But I think it's the same thing where it's because you can't know that they're consenting. Yeah, I guess
they may not do it without a monetary incentive.
Or they can't even know, yeah.
I do wonder, though, if I were a PDF file, would I look at CP? Oh yeah, I wouldn't be able to stop myself, partly because I'd have no other outlet for my urges, but also because merely looking at CP is ultimately a victimless crime. This may seem like just another thought experiment, but to Max, this isn't a hypothetical whatsoever, as his participation in this stream heavily suggests.
Have you ever looked at... I need you to answer the question, honestly.
Wait, so the framing here is so crazy. So I need to pull this up again. So on this podcast, which we showed some of earlier, might be in a separate video if there's segments on the channel. On this podcast, Mr. Girl refuses to answer the question, have you ever looked at CP? Because they're implying that he's a pedophile. He's not going to act defensively. If he's making a point, he's not going to act defensively and start telling you, like, who he is. He wants to argue on the grounds of the statements being made. Now, separately, despite Tom acting like Mr. Girl is just refusing to answer here because he has watched CP, there is a separate clip. If you had bothered to look,
are mad about cuties, haven't seen cuties, which is understandable. Like I'm mad about child porn, and I've never seen child porn. And if somebody was like, "Well, you haven't even seen it,"
so there he is stating unequivocally he's never seen child porn. Literally, right there saying it.
Or leave. Yeah.
Okay, so I should just leave.
Have you ever looked at child?
I don't think I have. I don't think he's gonna indulge that.
Mind you, a month before this article, he made a review of
it's such insane framing, and just knowing that other clips there, it's just like so crazy.
Freedom, which is ostensibly about a US government agent who hunts down human traffickers. Despite being produced by a relatively small studio, the movie was highly successful at the box office and went on to be very well liked by audiences. Of course, Max saw it differently. In his review, he said, "The Sound of Freedom panders to our collective delusion that CSA can be stopped with violence, that you can out-violence the violence. I should disclose here that I strongly dislike Donald Trump. I find the QAnon, conspiratorial, anti-pedo, anti-Jew shit among his supporters very disconcerting, and it all looks to me like an excuse to join an insane cult so you don't have to deal with complex problems in the real world. I voted for Biden."
This is extremely valid criticism of that movie. Like, all this like predator poacher shit and whatever else, and we've been watching all these videos where these guys like entrap retards so they can like punch them into a wall for, you know,
vitality,
talking to a imaginary 14-year-old girl that was actually just a psychopath YouTuber. And it's like this mythical belief that like, oh, we can stop all the pedophiles if we just find them and kill them. And it's like, yeah, that's not like how to stop it. Okay, like there just will be more of them. It's not like it's like interbreeded into them and you can breed them out of existence by killing them.
I don't think people stop it, but it's awesome.
I don't think people are trying to stop it from being like an inherited trait or some shit, or like a trait that manifests in humans. I think people are.
But the fantasy is that it's like, oh, we'll just hunt them down and kill them, and it's like, well, that's just not feasible.
But you say it won't work before we even fucking try.
It's good inspiration.
Hold on, that's not what this movie is about. This movie isn't about like it's.
Wait, for real, Luigi Mangione's lawyer, Thomas Dickey, says there's no evidence to suggest his client is the shooter. Mangione is expected to plead not guilty. No way, dude. What?
Listen, I haven't seen the fucking movie. The way the movie was described just now about it being like a fucking like government enforcement body that's like hunting down a child sex ring or some shit like that. That's what laws are. That's what a
well, this guy's not the guy in the movie. The guy in the movie is not working for the government.
Oh, he's like a vigilante.
Yeah, Tim Ballard has his own organization. It turned out it was all fake, and also he raped half the women who were part of it. He'd set up these stings with women who were like really wanted to save kids, and he'd be like, "Listen, these traffickers are crazy, so you have to pretend to be my wife, or we're gonna get found out." And I'd be like, "Okay." And I'd be like, "Hey, by the way, we have to have sex, or else the traffickers are gonna know we're not really husband and wife." And you're like, "Bro, what the fuck, man?"
Jiminy Christmas.
So, yeah, the whole thing was invented like fever dream nonsense, and you can look it up. That guy's a total fraud.
The point is, this isn't a great criticism because violence is a deterrent for people committing crimes. That's what like the existence of the police presents. That's what the existence of laws.
Wait, violence or like prison?
Yes. Yeah, violence as well.
Well, how did they get you into prison, Vito?
Well, you're saying slapping cuffs on a guy's violence?
I'm saying that no, but like, okay, you don't want to go to prison. You keep running away from the cops and or fighting the cops off if they try to put cuffs on you. What happens? It's like you're just being coerced, right? You have a metaphorical and then possibly literal gun to your head.
Okay, but I think when we're talking about violence in this respect, it's killing people, not chasing them down and putting them in jail.
Okay, do you think it's the case that like people that are committing crimes, when they get caught, they're like, "Oh, you got me. Guilty as charged. I plead guilty."
I think it's more that I think a lot of the times they get put in cuffs and thrown in the back of a car. What do you mean?
Right, but
not every encounter with the police ends in a violent scuffle.
No, the existence the police have a monopoly on violence, right? We grant a monopoly on violence to like an enforcement body. To enforce the law. People who are committing crimes aren't like, well, you know what? I'm gonna go commit this crime today, and you know what? I'm just gonna risk it. I'm gonna run the gambit. You know, I'm gonna like play this gambit where if they catch me, hey, you know, they catch me. Like that's not people who are committing crimes. They don't have that mentality, right? They don't want.
Yeah,
to
but this movie is about
vigilantism.
It's not about the system.
Supreme is often wrong about stuff, and he's always so confident about his positions, exasperating the people who disagree. It's so irritating. Well, you don't agree with Destiny on this?
It's about a vigilante.
Yeah, either way, the point, sorry, you said it was a valid point that like presenting the threat of violence to people who want to commit like harms that society says people shouldn't be able to commit.
It's one form of deterrent, but it's not like a fucking end all.
Just to be clear, Supreme, you think that the murder of that CEO was a good thing, that is going to, that the violence of them they're enacting on us through the insurance system,
which I know
with violence is fine. That like
whether or not it's a good thing and whether or not it's a deterrent. Sorry. My argument is that it's a deterrent, not a good thing necessarily. Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
That violence is like a tried and true deterrent in society.
So you like the death penalty?
Not really. No, not philosophically. No. I'm not arguing that all violence in every case is a good thing. Just that it is like an effective deterrent.
Okay. I mean, yeah, it's a deterrent. Sure. I don't think I was arguing against that.
Okay. I thought you were saying that it was like super valid to say like the idea of killing.
Well,
like,
then I would say abolish prisons or whatever, defund the police. But I'm not saying that.
I see.
Right.
Ooh. All right.
The rule of law and has no morals.
Anyway, and Jim
However,
Caviezel, who played
Biden
the main role, is a QAnon guy, so that doesn't help either. But go ahead.
Sniffed, kissed, and fondled too many children in public to stay in my good graces. I think he is a creep who has, at best, been inappropriate with kids. In private, the truth is probably worse. Common things being common. While Max is just addressing how the movie became politicized, so it's not completely out of place, it's strange that he simultaneously says he voted for Biden and that he believes Biden is a creep. Usually, those two things are mutually exclusive.
Creep here, he wrote pedophile, but I think Tom doesn't want to say pedophile in the video or something. Keeps censoring pedophile. I'm guessing YouTube, like demonetizes.
Cancel each other out. And another section of this article.
Just real quick, I'll back it up. So I think Biden, he said, I think Biden is a creep. That's how Tom read it here. But it says, I think he is a pedophile.
Usually those two things are mutually exclusive and cancel each other out. In another section of this article, he speaks about the personal experiences he had with people he knew who had suffered this kind of thing, noting that their families usually ignored or pretended it didn't happen, which he interprets as the default reaction, and even gives it some degree of justification. However, there is an alternative explanation that presents itself once you factor in that multiple of the examples Max gives are girls he dated. It could just be that girls who are neglected by their families are overrepresented in Max's dating history. This isn't to say that cases like that don't exist, but Max's perspective could definitely be skewed here. Before he closes the review, he says that the movie is homophobic.
You pause that for a second?
One of the
Yep.
I don't think Mr. Girl's perspective on that is wrong at all. Okay, like it's pretty well known that especially, you know, in previous eras, all this child abuse was swept under the rug incredibly. Like maybe more recently, people are like more vocal about what's happened. But like it's pretty well known that like families would be like, oh, you know, yeah, uncle whatever did something, but let's just not talk about it. Let's not think about it.
Oh, definitely. Like with the whole acceptance of therapy came a lot of people just more open to admit like the things that had happened to them. Maybe because it started coming out in therapy and being portrayed in TV shows more like honestly.
I have a buddy right now who's making a documentary. He's kind of looking into like this kind of weird, almost pedophilic cult. And every story he tells me about like the way that people justify it to themselves, like 100% backs this shit up, where they're just like, well, yeah, that guy was creepy and touchy, but he was a good guy. It's like fucking weird. That's kind of just the way it was for a long time.
It reminds me of that Shameless. I think it was that Shameless episode where she's like the one person working at the supermarket that doesn't want to have to give the manager a blowjob, and everyone actually gets upset with her when she like confronts him and is like, "Nope, this is sexual harassment. It's not fucking okay." And then everyone's like, "Oh, now Stacy had to pick up an extra blowjob shift because you don't know how to put out. He does good to us, like on the Thanksgiving bowl."
Collective
like,
punishment. Yeah.
Insane.
Have you guys seen Mindhunter?
Ooh, not yet.
I've seen the first season.
Well, if you want a good well, the second season falls off. But in the first season, they like get called into the school because they're like, "Hey, can you just talk to the principal of the school?" And it's like, "Why? What's going on?" It's like, "Well, when like the kids are bad, he makes them come into his office so he can tickle their feet as a punishment." And could you just ask him to stop? And you're like, dude, if that happened today, it would be like, that guy's a fucking pervert. Get him out of there. But back then, it was just like, oh, I don't know. He just does this weird thing. He just tickles their feet. Because like foot fetish was not common knowledge. And it just sounded like, oh, that guy's just doing something weird. Just tell him to stop. And it's like, those are written from actual people's experiences, like stories that were told of shit that went on back then.
Yeah, that could have been innocuous too in that specific case.
No.
Like, come on. No. Okay. Maybe not that one specifically, but there were behaviors that definitely have been like totally curbed that probably weren't harmful. That people are just like, yeah, I'm not gonna risk like,
yes,
I'm not gonna risk like, I used to like move girls along in the hallway by like their hip or something if they were in my way, and now I don't touch any of the girls in my school because what the fuck, no, right? That like probably there are some behaviors that you don't know
if someone's trying to get away with liberties.
Yeah,
and that leads you to wonder what else they're trying to get away with.
Well, and you just don't want to be the guy who like gets called out on some random behavior, right? Probably not the tickling feet thing. I can't really defend the tickling feet thing.
Some kids. Who doesn't want to tickle some kids?
I can't defend that one, but I think they're like just in terms of the broad point. I think there are some things that like probably there are behaviors that just go away. I thoroughly denounce tickling children. Okay, it's fucked up. That's just fucked up.
No tickling.
Very brave.
Frankly, I think people who tickle kids should be put in wood chippers, so I'm just gonna hit
children who were trafficked as attractive. I'm obviously singling out the most inflammatory things he said here, but again, it's his intent to be inflammatory and say these things. I'm just documenting it. In September of 2023, he was banned from YouTube once again for violating the child safety policy of the TOS. Whatever momentum he built up in his songs and his association with Destiny that could establish him as a content creator was on his deathbed. In April, he made a hardcore pivot and rebrand, creating a TikTok account called Observer Physics, where he supposedly was going to focus exclusively on subjects like astronomy and astrophysics, but he was apparently banned from r/physics for claiming to make grandiose discoveries in the field without backing his claims up whatsoever. Additionally, he claimed to have debunked a discovery made by Albert Einstein, which is just really funny. It was alleged that Max was trying to get legitimate academics to visit his livestream to discuss his ideas, but he couldn't contain himself, getting into fights with them in emails before the streams could happen. As of the writing of this video, there are only 2 uploads to his TikTok, and though they were successful, it seems he's abandoned this project. I hope it comes back though. I'm excited for Mr. Girl's Time Cube and Terry Davis arc. If he doesn't do it himself, one of his sycophantic followers who imitate him online, because yes, these people exist, will probably do it before he can. Besides his physics side project, in July 2024, Max dropped an EP titled The Blackface, where he raps alongside a black version of himself using an AI voice. The track list includes songs such as One of the Good Ones, Some of My Best Friends Are Black, and most importantly, Shake Your Flaps. One of the latest developments for Max is that he announced he was working on putting together a documentary. Care to guess what it's about?
Is about child sexual abuse.
What a topic to become a one-trick pony about. Also in July of 2024, he wrote a Substack article about Dr. K from the YouTube channel Healthy Gamer GG.
It really actually wouldn't be weird for Max if he was literally a victim of it, right? Like if his whole thing was that like my mom used to try and touch me and she was sexually attracted to me. Like it wouldn't be weird if that's like a topic he wanted to focus on.
Dude, I don't know how you can go, oh, this guy's awful. Why? Well, he's making a documentary about child sexual abuse. Well, what do you mean? Isn't that good? Shouldn't we know more about that? Yeah, but he's a creep. It's like, okay.
Well, I think it's more like it's such that this is the only thing this guy ever wants to talk about and is like extremely careless when he talks about it and makes jokes, like extremely distasteful jokes. You know what I mean? Like
but like here's the thing. We now live in an era where I'm on Twitter and a fucking lottery, a Bitcoin lottery site has its watermark on videos of guys beating the shit out of pedophiles in the grocery store. And people go, I don't know why you want to talk about this. And you go, what do you mean?
Website or associated websites with it pay me very well. Be careful. Go ahead.
But we have fucking politicians. We have Congress people who have said, hey, the government is full of satanic pedophiles who want to rape your kids. And you go, well, this is a very interesting topic. We should talk about it on a deeper level. And they go, God, you're such a fucking creep. Why do you want to talk about this? It makes no fucking sense. Like, we have to talk about it. We should be talking about it the same way every single.
He said that company or an associated company pay me very well, so be careful. Thanks.
Single day, the fucking people go on and they go, this guy's a groomer, this guy's a child, whatever. The same way they talk about it every single day. Every single day we should be like, well, okay, let's have a serious discussion about what to do about it.
True.
Some of the fucking hyperbole you guys are putting
if Jeffrey
out there.
Epstein, Vito, if Jeffrey Epstein were making a documentary about child abuse, would you be like, you know what? Finally.
Like, so this starts off saying that Mr. Girl is careless about the topic of childhood sexual abuse, and then follows up with, well, it's like Jeffrey Epstein trying to make a documentary.
This guy.
Right.
You know what? I didn't think that highly of him before, but it's time for him to pay back. Okay, it's time for
What
him
are
to
the sexual allegations against Max Carson?
Well, I don't know. I guess there are some, right? I don't know.
What? Like
I'm
what?
not gonna say the record is completely clean. Like we just watched a video where he's like telling his girlfriend that she can't draw a boundary where he can't have sex with her.
Dude,
that's not. I mean, that's not an allegation of sexual assault. It's definitely not.
Yeah, because dude, the relationship literally ends there. That's called her breaking up with him. Yeah, so we're in a relationship, but we don't have sex. Okay, well the relationship's over then. There is no relationship anymore. The fuck?
An allegation of sexual assault against a minor.
Do you think that would be like actually insane to do? To say, hey, I'm not going to be in a relationship with somebody who doesn't want to have sex with me?
I think that's irrelevant to what I asked.
I think no. He's
what are the
asking
sexual
Supreme.
allegations against Max Carson?
I'm asking
okay.
Supreme, but you can answer, and then if you want to follow up with that, Supreme. If you want to list what they actually are, it'd probably be helpful for Vito.
I don't think the way to make that argument, hey, you know what? I'm not interested in being in a relationship with you if I can't have sex with you. I don't think the way to make that argument is you're not allowed to draw that boundary. I think it's perfectly reasonable to not want to be in a.
He didn't say that. He said there's a limit to your limits. That's what he said. She said it feels like I'm being told I'm not allowed to draw a boundary. I can't have limits. It's like he says, well, it's not that you can't have limits. It's there are limits to your limits. That's what he said, right?
Relationship with someone, a romantic one, where you can't have sex with them, of course. But that's the way to make that isn't you're not allowed to draw a boundary where I'm not allowed to have sex with you. And I think it's like within a certain.
I mean, well, that's true, but that is just true.
Time frame, like once a week or once a couple days or something. No, it's not the same thing.
You telling me I
can't
have sex?
It is not the exact same thing.
So I think, I mean, I'm just gonna, we can put together a bunch of other Max things here, but he thinks that like when you phrase things like questions, when they're really statements, when it's like, I don't want this, but you ask it as a statement, and then you put all of the onus on the other person to like basically unpack what you really mean. That's bad to him. That's really bad to him, right?
The thing is, AKA Batusa, is that he's against prison as a whole, right? He doesn't think anyone should be in prison. He considers it torture and inhumane, and we should find another option.
So he's saying, we can't be together unless you fuck me. Instead of saying, hey, like, do you think it's appropriate if we're like, do you think it's fair to me if we have a relationship where I don't get any sex, but I really want sex? Like, do you think he's just saying what he actually thinks there? Like, I want to be in a relationship unless we fuck.
He's issuing a command. No, there's a difference between saying, well, listen, like, if you're negotiating with someone, there's a difference between saying, well, hold on a minute, like, I'm not getting mine to the bargain if I don't get this thing, and I forbid you from doing this thing.
Kelly Jean in chat. Look at Supreme being a smug, disingenuous retard. That never happens. Okay.
My takeaway was, like, obviously he's being performative and, like, offensive for the content, but that the underlying thing that's going on is how frustrating it can feel to try to come to agreements with someone that you're in a relationship with when you're being direct, but they are being indirect. And so, yeah, he doesn't want you to be very, like, vague or question around what he's proposing. He's going to propose it very directly, very strictly, and is looking for that same engagement. And
I think this is clear Chad behavior. This is some anti-Tate Nanosphere shit. You got to put these ladies in their place. And you got to say, I want you to lie motionless like a doll. Well, let's go at it.
I think it's good to be really clear about what you want and to let the other person know if it's not what they want, that they have to do the thing where they leave. Don't stay in this comfortable gray area, because that's probably where you continuously become disappointed and grow attached.
Don't make me rape you, is roughly what Cherry's saying. That's what Max said. Okay, he's saying don't make. Please, I want you to know exactly what freaky shit I'm into, because I don't want you to randomly just kind of like lean into it a little bit, and then you're like saying it's okay, but you don't really feel like it's okay, and then I have to do the thing where I have to take care of you and make sure that you're actually okay. So please just tell me. I'll tell you really plainly. This is what I want. Is it okay?
Well, you know what? This is like a modern problem with relationships. Is you go, communication's hard, and people are like ashamed to be honest. And you got to be like, listen, I don't want to do something, and then later I find out you had a horrible experience. Like that's a.
It is. It's absolutely people like it is. It is. People just are so comfortable with the manipulative shit that everyone slips into, that most people slip into, where it's, oh, maybe we could try this, maybe, and maybe you like it, and maybe we could try this, and maybe, and then the constant pushing and eroding that happens. Whereas, but then when Mr. Girl just comes out and says, this is exactly what I want. This is exactly how I think things should go. It's a problem. It's like, no, that should probably, that's good. That is like kind of good communication. I mean, you can argue whether it's good or bad communication because it upsets the other person. There's definitely an argument there, but that's kind of like the point, is to have the argument about communication and what the proper way to communicate is. That's kind of what he's trying to do. No?
Common issues in relationships.
Or I think it's fair to be like, I don't want to have sex with you if you don't actually enjoy this particular thing and you just tolerate it or whatever. Like that kind of ruins the enjoyment for me or whatever. Like, yeah, I think it's fine to say that. I think it's fine to be able to have that boundary for yourself as well. I think that happens. But I also think it's like not that bad if somebody is, you know what I mean? Like it's not a big deal if like your partner really likes something and you're not that into it, but you do it anyway.
It's the old you're faking your orgasms question, you know? A lot of guys don't want that.
True. How the fuck did we get on this? I feel like it was a really silly thing.
So it was on the documentary thing. You were wondering why he was making the CSAM argument, or sorry, you wondered why he was making the CSAM documentary. You were defending Tom, casting like incredulity on it, and then you said Max is not without his.
No, Vlad, having a girlfriend cry on camera is good art, actually, and she consented to it. I mean, she's part of it. They have rules in their relationship about the recording, and when it takes place, and what can happen during the recordings, how the footage can be used, and she consents to it. Under no duress that we can see, under no coercion that we can see. So that's not abuse.
His own allegations.
Hold on,
yeah,
no.
He said he's like Jeffrey Epstein.
No, I did not say Max isn't without his own allegations. Vito said, well, hold on, this guy doesn't have like abuse allegations. First off, the reason that it's creepy, or the reason that I think it's like natural to feel like it's creepy for this guy to want to focus on this one topic over and over is because, like I said, he's been like really careless in discussing it, making songs where he has jokes about like minors giving him, you know, boners and shit. You know what I mean? Like that's why I think it's like normal for a person to feel like, okay, this guy on this topic again after he's made, you know, the I'm a pedophile song.
Let me make this point. Okay, so you're saying like, oh,
Vlad, I'm not buying any line. That's my read of the evidence. Present evidence or reasoning that goes against that if you have a different opinion. But you don't have evidence or reasoning. You're just going, Mr. Girl is a psycho. Mr. Girl is a psycho. I hate this guy.
Okay, if you make a song about it, like it's, you know, you're satirizing it and you're not taking it seriously. I'd make the argument that, you know, catfishing retarded guys, you can hit them over the head with a pumpkin in a store. Like, we are in a society which is not taking this topic seriously. Okay, we're in a society where it goes, you know what I'd do to this guy? I'd build a shotgun machine so I can shoot him 50 fucking times in the head.
Hold on a minute. We started this conversation with me saying it's literally normal to expect he would want to make this documentary if he was a victim of it as a kid. Like, hold on a minute. I didn't start defending Turkey Tom. Like, I'm just making the point that, like, okay, hold on. It's not the fact that we should want everyone to want to make a documentary on this. It's the fact that you'd be critical of, like, his ability to, or what his intentions are to keep focusing on this topic when he's been careless about it before.
I don't think he's been careless about it.
Really? You don't think he's been careless about it?
No. When you say careless, like, why? Making songs? Like, joking about it? Is that the extent of it?
Yeah, sure. Actually, making a joke about it, yeah, I think that can be careless.
So, again, you're doing, like, an incredibly low IQ thing here that's, like, very embarrassing that people in the commentary community do pretty often. Where what you do is, well, I can't believe you're defending this person. I'm not defending a person. I'm defending the position. And you're not doing anything to combat the position. You're just kind of bitching and crying.
Absolutely.
Okay, but, like, everyone's doing that.
Are
so,
they?
like, I don't know, man. Yeah.
Everyone's making the songs about fucking the kids? What's yours called?
No, everybody's going on the public square and going, all the gays are groomers. And they're doing it with this little wink and a nod where they know they're using the word incorrectly. And you go, what do you mean they're groomers? It's like, well, you know, they're gay in front of kids. And it's like, oh, it's all like a big joke. It's like everybody's goofing around on this topic.
Yeah, and if those people were like, you know what, I'm going to make a documentary about how homophobia negatively...
Yeah, I know you're being serious. You're just also very low IQ. I know. You're just, like, really dumb.
It affects people. Would you
those
feel
people
like
make all kinds of documentaries about, like, here's the secret history of the Democrat pedophile rings. So, I don't know. I mean, you could say that we should take it as seriously as those, but I think, if anything, Max has been doing satire of the way society treats this topic. The song is about, yeah, why don't you put me in a wood chipper? He's making fun of those people.
I think to some degree that's true. I think to some degree. But I also think it's also just like
extremely large degree.
I don't think the songs are about actually raping kids. I think the songs are about satirizing the ridiculous way we're discussing these topics.
I don't think the song I'm a Pedophile says anything about killing pedophiles. I think that particular song...
It has a wood chipper in the fucking music video. Come on.
Yeah, I don't know. I think
he raps in front of a wood chipper.
Yeah, that's irrelevant. I think the point of the song is just to be like shock humor, and I think that's fine. I'm not even saying that that's bad. I'm not even saying that it's wrong for him to have made that song. I think it's funny.
Yeah,
do you know the point that I'm trying to make?
No.
That it is normal for a person to be suspicious about this person doing a documentary about this topic for the umpteenth time after they've been careless about it. Like,
it's suspicious.
He hasn't laid out how it's careless. He hasn't laid out how it's careless.
Yes, I agree. If you're like an uninformed, idiotic person who doesn't understand what's going on with this topic, and you go, oh, but he said this thing about cuties, he can't possibly have an informed opinion on this thing, then yes, it doesn't make sense to you. But I think anybody who understands satire and commentary and like artistic license can go, absolutely, this guy is in a position to talk about this topic. If anything, he's been at the center of this topic he did a movie review.
It will just be your
and found himself at the center of this ridiculous fucking witch hunt, pedophile witch hunt. If anything, he's the most well-suited person to do a documentary on the fucking hysteria around this topic.
I mean, I don't know if it's necessarily hysteria. I think he made that video in such a way to provoke people and to push people's buttons. I don't know if it's hysteria when you're the one like putting a video out that's like, yeah, these fucking 10-year-olds gave me a boner.
Yeah, that was funny.
Even if his point is like, well, the movie like does that intentionally. Like the movie is manipulating the shots of these minors in such a way that you confuse them for. I don't know. I haven't seen the movie, but I guess that's the way that it was.
Have you seen his review?
No, I haven't. No.
Oh, okay. So you've just seen clips of the review?
Yeah.
You should definitely watch the review.
I'm not attacking the guy for the way he's covered this shit. Do you understand that?
Why did you just...
You're saying it's okay for people to find him creepy, and I'm saying yes, uninformed, ignorant people would have that opinion. I'm saying anyone with a brain would understand that this is a man who has been at the center of this ridiculous, hyped-up controversy
that he created. That he created.
More, no. He did not create this like overblown hysteria.
His involvement in it, yes.
You didn't watch the review. Now, if you had, we could talk about how he created this controversy.
Okay, are we arguing whether or not Max is intentionally provocative sometimes?
Art should be provocative.
So what are we arguing about? I don't understand.
People going.
We're arguing about whether or not an artist should be viewed as suspicious for covering a topic which he is extremely well suited to cover. And I would say no, and dumb people would say yes.
Do you understand? Wait, never mind. We can just move on.
Hold on.
You realize that's literally how it started this conversation.
Donation to bring up one thing. You basically said it's like if Epstein went to create a documentary on child abuse.
Yes, because I'm trying to test.
I want you to compare Epstein versus Mr. Girl.
Yeah, it's the explosion principle, right? I'm testing whether or not Vito is consistent with the idea that everyone should be making pedophile documentaries all the time.
No, just
something that Vito said before, which is if you understand satire, if you understand commentary, it doesn't make sense to have this takeaway that Tom did. And I am kind of curious how Tom has this like.
Dude, Supreme got bent over there. This is
Tom is a 22-year-old doofus.
Oh no!
Who lives only online.
Worried to be associated with the dude who's known for pedo stuff, like pedo commentary.
I have never.
Vlad, please identify the abuse. Please identify the abuse, and you have to describe an action that Mr. Girl took and why it's abusive. You can't just say Shaylin cried, okay? It can't be Shaylin's reaction. It has to be something Mr. Girl did.
Never found Turkey Tom to be the enlightened. Look, I like Turkey Tom, but come on, this is like goof around YouTube drama farming. Like, he can't comprehend this content. He's a child.
I think he can comprehend it, and I think this. I'm not a fan of the video, personally. I think Tom is very intelligent. I think he's perfectly capable of comprehending exactly.
I agree with J-Stalk. I think Tom is totally capable of doing it. I think he chooses not to. I think he chooses not to engage because he knows it's better for the money. That's okay.
Especially for his age.
Yeah, I don't actually accept that excuse. I think
no. What? I'm agreeing with you. I'm saying he's intelligent, especially for his age.
No. Sorry. Yeah, I realize you. I realize you agree with me. I'm saying I don't accept Vito's excuse. Vito's excuse for like why Tom has this take. Yeah, the age thing.
Supreme, you're like super combative.
I've seen some of Tom's content, and there's stuff where he'll just be like willfully ignorant, like
legitimately like fuck.
And sometimes I'm like, dude, I don't think you get it. Where like there was a bunch of guys wearing like T-shirts of like this Nazi band, you know, like this like like clear white supremacist like dudes, and he's like, it's just a band T-shirt, man. And I'm like, yeah, but like when you buy.
Okay, so you managed to, you literally, how did you do that? You tried to lay out a point and then you just randomly throw in literally the thing that I said would disqualify your point. Making her cry. Demanding an unreasonable sexual boundary on camera when she didn't know she was going to ask her what he was going to ask her, and then keeping it in the posted video. Yeah, so they have boundaries that they have negotiated that once she consents to being in a video, the footage can be used. Yeah, unless he's just trolling. Unless he's literally just been trolling for the whole last hour. He's just been saying the most retarded thing possible just to get under my skin, just to make me explain this for the 15th time tonight. That's always possible, you know? And if that's the case, I will take the L, but I will say, I judge you on a personal level for taking the time to do that. Making the criticism that was addressed 10 minutes before. Yeah, and then he's throwing in the thing at the end. He's been around long enough. He knows, like, he's not... He knows... Yeah, this guy was not shocked by me defending Mr. Girl. This guy's been around long enough to know that I'm not joking about defending Mr. Girl. It sounds like it's what... Okay. Okay. Let's carry on. Let's carry on with the video.
Buy that band's t-shirt and you wear it around with you and your, like, buddies to, like, rallies and shit. I think you're trying to express a different topic there. You know, whatever. I've found him ignorant in the past of, like, people's intentions.
I mean, this is like his content is being critical of people, right? Like, look at how foolish this person is.
Call that from the VOD. Call that from the
What was the
VOD.
example just a second ago where he was like, I like bringing up this thing where he's the sex toy review or whatever else, like just stuff that's funny. I know, like the one where it's like, yeah, my girlfriend's mother brought a letter I wrote to a woman's abuse shelter. Here's a review of a pocket pussy. Yeah, and I'm like, and he's like, oh man, that's so creepy. What a weirdo. And I'm like, that's just good writing, man.
I mean, it's what I don't know if Vito was here to say it. It might have been JStock who said it, which was like, in the beginning, what Max wanted to use like comedy to be able to like push the political message that like.
I'm not. No. Fuck you. Fuck you, dude. Honestly, I'm like deleting that message so I don't even have to see it. Okay.
Felt should be.
You're not timed out because you got me.
Like,
I'm deleting troll messages so I don't have to look at them anymore.
To deliver it. Oh, okay. It was his words then. But it was the beginning
Max
of the
literally said
documentary.
that he thinks like the finger wagging doesn't work, and he thinks comedy, like making people laugh at how absurd things are, is like a way better way to do it. I don't even think
So
that's
the fact
wrong. I
that
think
he
that's,
was
like,
doing
oddly correct.
comedy, making it content, making it satirical, or making it provocative to be entertaining, even though that is something that makes a couple people feel like you're unserious, he was doing it like intentionally for something he felt serious about.
I think you need both. I think the finger wagging.
I think he can
help,
grow
but, like,
up with age and decide I want to do a more serious documentary.
Yeah, that's true.
Right?
Yeah.
I got a question for Vito though. Okay, you had to bet money, Vito, on whether or not like he was actually just like sociopathic, like psychopathic, and was using all the humor to cloak like him just confessing to actual stuff he's done. Like, what odds would you give on that? Like 10 to 1,
0%.
20 to 1, 0%. Okay. I think it's non-zero. I don't think it's like.
You don't talk to this guy. Okay, so I call Mr. Girl
That's
at least
true.
once a week.
I don't talk to him anywhere near as much as you do, so I will give you that.
I talk to Mr. Girl about. Yeah, go ahead.
I'll just say I don't know if that. I feel like that doesn't move the needle for me because that one, like as much as you have a better understanding of him, it also means you're probably biased towards him. You are like actually have a relationship with him, right? So I'm not sure if that moves the needle. But go ahead and say what you're gonna say, and then I'll evaluate.
Well, you said what? That he's like a what is he secretly? A
that
sociopath?
Like he's somehow like kind of psychopathic, and he's like maybe not. I don't focus on the word actually. Hold on, I don't care about the word. That he's like kind of confessing to stuff he's done. That like really he is actually like kind of abusive. He has done weird sexual shit with people. He has sort of like ignored consent in some cases that maybe was okay or maybe not. Like that this is all true. That he's not. Actually...
Oh, then 100%. I mean, what do you mean? He's admitted to all of that.
Okay.
He has a video where he says, "I raped a girl." You know.
I know.
I remember. I yelled at him for that one.
Wait a minute, didn't you ask me like 20 minutes ago? Wait a minute, what assaults has Max been accused of?
Yeah, well, he's not been accused of them. He admitted to that one.
But wait,
Yeah, he's not accused of assaults. He has told stories of times he has assaulted people. Yes.
Wait, never mind.
That was a pedophile claim.
I've learned not to take what he says seriously and just roll it. It's just a voice for the stream, it's fine.
Dude, Supreme's totally felt it. This guy's fees.
You know, that was directed at you. He just called you a fucking retard.
That's fine.
All right. Well,
I mean, I don't understand that complaint, but okay.
I feel like you should let Vito say more, even though he's like biased towards Max's favor. If like what Supreme's gonna be here, not even watch the content, but essentially mind read Max, doesn't seem fair.
Me? I don't have to mind read Max. Like which part is mind reading?
You're saying you're doing because you didn't watch the video that you guys were discussing, right?
Yeah. Oh no. So sorry. That was just one point where I'm saying like it's kind of natural for people to be suspicious about this when the guy's been like careless about this topic in the past. To be like, well, maybe this isn't the guy I want to listen to on this. And early.
I think he's been incredibly careful about the topic.
You think he's been incredibly careful about the topic?
Yeah.
It depends on what you guys are referring to as careful. And Vito asked for your definition of careless because I think depending on what you mean, if you mean like meticulous or like exacting in his language, I think that's probably true that he's been exacting in his language on the topic. Now, if you mean careless as in he doesn't care if he like causes harm to people, that could possibly also be true. So you have to define what you mean because right now you guys could mean completely different things.
When I say careless, it means like it's like he has talked about this topic in a way that suggests he doesn't really take it too seriously. Or like with the gravity that maybe it should be or something. When he's making like satirical jokes about how like kids give him boners and he rapes them and shit, right? Right. Now,
So
listen, whatever you think the underlying, I don't know. Listen, I don't know. I didn't fucking see it, but I know shit that
So you don't know his content, and you're
I'm
making
not arguing that he shouldn't make a documentary.
about it.
Vito, you brilliant genius.
You don't know his content, man.
I literally
What do you
started this
want?
conversation by saying we would expect people who are victims of like child sexual assault to make documentaries about it, which Max is. That's how I started this conversation. Do you remember?
Yeah, and then you said he's not careful.
No, I didn't say. Well, you know what? I did say he's not careful. Fair enough. I did say he like has been careless about it. Yeah, and I think that's true. Now, that doesn't lead me to believe he shouldn't make this documentary. I said it was normal for people to be suspicious that he might not be the right guy to make this documentary.
I think if you're basing your perception on him entirely out of clips that were farmed by drama YouTubers, then yeah, you might get that impression. But I think if you actually watch it,
Or based on songs that he's written and you've listened to in their entirety.
Satirical songs do not push the needle, especially when you actually look at the content of those songs and understand what he's satirizing.
So what is he satirizing?
The ridiculous hysteria surrounding the topic of pedophilia.
Pedo panic. So if this guy, if the nature of this content is saying we're being too harsh on the pedophiles, this again, I feel like would make most people suspicious about him being the one to make the child sexual assault documentary.
Dumb people, yes.
So bad. Yeah, stupid people. People who aren't listening. Yeah.
Listen, and the reason that I was rude to you is because you said your argument to this was we should be wanting everyone to be making the pedophile documentaries. And I said, really, what about Epstein? You wouldn't be suspicious if Epstein made this? And you said, well, hang on, what sexual assaults has Mr. Girl been accused of? And now, like 5 minutes ago, you just said, well, he did admit to rape. That's the reason I responded that way. So you actually know that he, or at least you believe that he has been guilty.
He was not accused of rape. He said he did a rape.
He said he fucked a person without express verbal consent.
Obtaining consent,
which is like totally different from saying you've raped somebody, right? Well,
Yeah, but he's in a bedroom. He had sex with them.
No, I'm lying. He had express verbal non-consent, right? Like, hey, no. Yes.
Complete rehashing of the Mystiel rape story. Here we go.
But then it was fine. Yes.
She said, no, don't do it. And then he got the vibe that she wanted it anyway and continued. And then he explained how that was probably rape. But it never became like an issue. It's not like he got, she never said anything negative.
Yeah, so this is like a woman in her 40s when he was 30 from Tinder that begged him to fuck her, basically, and was on top of him, then looks him in the eyes and said, I'm not ready. And then he went for it anyway, and she called him back. That's the rough outline of this story. That is Mr. Girl raping someone.
Negative. And you know what? That's like a good, honest story about how complicated consent can be, man.
It is. The issue for me is that he tells that story completely different ways depending on where he is.
Yeah. It's just like the whole point is, the point is consent is complicated. And if you engage with that story in just the blanket, wow, he's a rapist way, you are just outing yourself. You are outing yourself as a retard or just someone who's not even engaging.
$3.
Oh, well, I don't know that.
So there's definitely room. There's definitely, you can maybe come down more on its morally wrong side or more on the wrong, like, yeah, there's no problem side. But to just engage with it like, this guy's a fucking rapist, that's like so low IQ. It's so crazy stupid.
So,
then outlines
maybe I'm
everything
wrong.
perfectly because he didn't forget.
I've just seen his video where he talked about it. He had a dedicated video to it.
Yeah, he's had times where he's brought it up on other podcasts, and he describes it very differently in a way that paints him like far worse. So I feel like, to me, it seems like a story that he's come up with where he can change the details slightly to like push the envelope on how people feel about it. Where it's like probably based in fact, but he like hams it up to make it a more like to make people feel more, I guess, inflamed.
It seems like the details change depending on how much he wants the person to forgive him or be upset with him. Yeah.
So yeah.
Performance.
I think it led to a whole thing in like this community where some people were like, no, he's clearly just doing a bit, and other people are like, no, he's clearly just a rapist. And yeah, I don't know. I think that all I see when that happens is Mr. Girl sitting back and going, job's done. There we go. They're having the convo. Is it rape? Is it not rape? Thank you. It takes a bow.
I mean, I think as a satirist, like, that's kind of the reaction you're going for sometimes. But, there is like a line blurring of
satire.
But like the embellishment can be.
No. I don't think he's told that story one time in a way that's satire. The whole point of that story is to get you to thinking like, is it always rape even if the person has like expressed non-consent if they actually like really want it? Because sometimes the ways he tells that story is that she's looking at him longingly for like 30 seconds, like stooping her head down more and more and more, even though she said like, I'm not ready or something like that, as if to say like, this person is giving me every other physical signal that they actually want me to do this.
But the story never goes like, I held her down and I forced my dick in her mouth, right?
No, not in her mouth. I think she's like, gets naked and sits on top of him.
What?
Does he ever describe her going, no, 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 stop?
Yes.
She says, I'm not. She says like, I'm not ready.
Yeah.
Which is no, right?
Yeah.
But then the whole point of the story is that, like, sometimes the way he tells it, she says, I'm not ready, but then she's like, he's having to interpret from her like facial expressions. Like he describes her looking longingly to his eye, or like daring or whatever, depending on how he wants to fucking tell the story. Sometimes it's, she looks at me like I'm sort of some sort of fucking pussy or something like that. And she's looking at me with disdain. So I just went for, I rolled the dice, right? That's the point of that story.
Yes. In every iteration of the story, she enjoyed the sex. They had sex again after that, right?
Yep. Okay, and I'll say to Supreme's credit here, right? Destiny changes his tune, that being a complex consent story, to it probably being genuine rape pretty quickly after war broke out between them. That was a bit suspect honesty-wise. When that happened, Supreme jumped on and pressed Destiny over that. He was like, listen, the fuck? You were totally on his side in that story 2 weeks ago, but now all of a sudden, he's a rapist. And Destiny's like, yeah, well, fuck that guy. Why should I give him any charitability? It's like, okay.
Well, yeah, you rolled the dice and he won.
The question is whether or not you should ever roll those dice.
But she called him again after that, right? Like, and he used that as evidence that, like, obviously it wasn't rape, but legally it might be considered rape because she expressed non-consent or something like that. That's like the whole point of that story, is that rape is actually more complicated than a verbal consent or non-consent or something like that.
I find it all very interesting, and I don't think it disqualifies him from making a documentary on child abuse.
I don't either.
I didn't say.
So just to be clear, he's arguing that, like, while he agrees that Mr. Girl could make a documentary, he's saying it is not weird for the average person who's not going to spend as much time looking into this to say, oh, it's really weird that this guy's making a documentary, right? That, like, the average retard, let's say the average retard, is going to look at that and go, oh, this guy, like, made jokes about pedos in the past and he's making a documentary about child abuse? That's weird.
I will absolutely agree with you on the average retard interpretation. The average retard will be upset with this or curious or whatever.
Fuck it. Actually, wait a minute. Didn't we just listen earlier about how he used to fucking nude model in front of teens as part of a fetish of his own or something like that? Maybe, you know what?
I think it was just a legitimate...
Well, he said both, because that's like part of the reasoning, but he basically what he said was that story relies on giving Max charitability, and he can't give Max that charitability anymore. Now that was his more deep, like, that was the more thought process laid out, right? Was that now that Max has done all this stuff, I've rethought his personality, and I've removed that charitability, right? That's what he's claiming. Again, he says charitability every time because Destiny doesn't realize that the word he's looking for is charity. That charitability actually means something slightly different.
Job that happened to put him in front.
I think he used the term.
He didn't
fetish.
pick kids because he had a fetish. He was a nude model and he was an exhibitionist. And I think the question would be, if you had a fetish for, like, being an exhibitionist, and you were also a nude model, if a high school calls you and says, hey, can you come model for this class? Or is it morally required for you to say, no, I get turned on by this. No, I will not model in front of those people, in front of those minors. Now, odds are he's probably not actually nude modeling for them.
Based on the story, he didn't get turned on by doing it in front of kids, so maybe he's not a pedophile. He only got turned on when the adult teacher flirted with him.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, true. Warbling, thank you for the sub. Individual sub, let's go. Thank you.
I've heard him tell that story before, and, like, it sounded like mostly it would be, like, you know, groups of women who hire you as kind of like a goof, you know? And I think if I was naked in front of a bunch of grown women, I could understand being aroused by that.
Yeah. The part where he described getting a boner is when a teacher of a class was flirting with him. I don't remember if it was a teacher of a high school class or a teacher of a college class.
It was high school.
Yeah, see, I always thought this was like college class.
No, it was high school. Anyway,
could just be anatomy modeling where he's like,
live drawing to every.
We had this conversation. We've done this already.
I love you guys, but this is the most biased I've ever heard you guys since the Kelly is a good person arc. Oh, I don't know when that arc was.
The scale that Max talks about.
What's your favorite color?
Scale.
Which strip club would you go to, Vito? You know that.
I thought it was. What are the colors?
The scale that Max talks about.
What's your favorite color?
Scale.
Which strip club would you go to, Vito? You know that.
I thought it was.
Which strip club?
I thought it was.
Or do you? Oh God.
I thought it was like terror threat level colors.
No, I'm just curious. You prescribe the pedo scale?
What's his scale?
That pedophilia is a spectrum. Everyone's attracted to someone within that range, right? Britney Spears, the Bad Baby.
That range being below 18.
Kids. Yeah, anyone below 18. There's a scale. Everyone's just on the scale somewhere. And I was like, I think he's absolutely right. So I was curious, where on the scale do you think you fit?
I'm attracted to older women, weirdly. So I don't know.
So you're like
my last serious girlfriend was 10 years older than me.
10 years old.
Dude, why is there a fucking Ian Watkins account in the chat? Dude, what? You're sick, bro. Whoever this is fucking sick. Crazy to go around pretending to be Ian Watkins. That's just fucking wild.
I was about to be really vague. I'm into older
my last girlfriend.
My last girlfriend
guys,
was 10. Was sick. She was so immature.
Bro, she was like a junior. I couldn't believe it.
Girls these days.
Where do you put yourself on that, Wes?
The high end. Like, I've definitely seen some hot ass 16-year-olds, but no part of me is like, I'll fuck 16-year-old. But as
I'm
an
out
adult,
at
I can be
6 months.
that
Okay,
child
dude.
is hot. That's a hot ass kid. That kid's doing a lot to be a hot ass kid. They're
The
all
fucked up thing
big
for
ass
me-
titties, fat ass.
I understand
Like,
the Britney
whatever-
Spears poster though.
Yeah, whatever
But the
age
Britney-
Britney
but the
Spears
Britney
was when she
Spears
did the
poster-
video, like, goddamn.
But they styled her specifically to look, you know,
And that's
more.
what a lot of teenage girls do, is they style themselves to be women.
No, they didn't
Yeah.
just do that to her.
I think the
Britney
scale's
Spears,
getting worse as time goes on. There's going to be younger and younger. Their
Britney
evolution's
Spears
going to
can
kick in soon.
sing.
12-year-olds will look like 20-something-year-old hot sluts.
Here. It's even crazier that J-Stalk just puts up fucking 16-year-old Britney Spears on the screen while they're having
You
it.
guys think, oh, this girl's.
I'd fuck her brains out,
Thank you. So you're on the scale.
and I wouldn't feel bad about it.
I think.
But like,
somebody
this
did
is
that
one of
to
those
her.
things where
Insane.
can we evaluate this correctly though? Because like, I was so young when this came out that this was like one of those sexual awakening things, and it's like, is that fair that I'm still like, this is hot? I feel like that's not fair, right? It's not a fair comparison.
It's a fair comparison. Listen, dude, Nona from Pete and Pete was like a 9 or 10, and I thought she was hot when I was 9 or 10. But I can't make
9
the
or 10
excuse
is
that if I
different,
go
bro.
back.
9 or 10 is so different.
But isn't that the argument?
I
You're
would-
well, I thought she was hot then, and it was like a big part of my sexual development. So
I would chain this bitch to a radiator and violate her from every side.
All right,
Whoa,
we need to
Jesus
chill the fuck
Christ.
out.
oh fuck.
Okay, he's on a different scale. Okay, I'm no.
Oh, I'm
longer-
sorry. Wait, are
I
we
don't
still
wanna
live?
be- I don't want to be on the scale
Yes, we
anymore.
are.
I'm getting
Oh,
off-
sorry.
Literally
I
always
thought
been
this was
live.
off stream.
I'm not
My
going
bad.
after 5 minutes
You
of the video. I was like,
did
okay,
not
I'll
think
hop on
that-
the
wait.
Vito roller coaster,
You-
and now I'm
did
like,
you
okay,
really,
give
I
me
don't
the
think
fuck
you really
off.
thought this was off stream.
No, I thought the stream was over. That was a goof. I'm just goofing. Anyway,
That was a good one.
Say
Thank
just
you.
kidding.
Bro.
He did.
disavow.
It's like when I say
I
that
remember-
N-word, I say
Wait,
it with
I
my
don't
grandpa.
mean.
Britney Spears did like a crazy photo shoot when I was a kid too. That was like super
Right, there's something
super
wrong with
sexualized,
these
super hot,
guys.
and I
What
can't
is
remember if it was,
going
like,
on?
before or
Snake
after
one?
she turned 18. Yeah, it's the snake one. When is that? I think.
What did she do? the snake one for?
No, that's
Is it
2001, which is when she's 20. Yeah, no, it's
Jerry?
before this.
You're the great Googler. Can you find me the video of the guy singing, and the caption is "What the hooker sees when she wakes up, chained to my radiator in my basement"?
Oh, it was Rolling Stone, and it was 1999, and she was either 16 or 17. And it's
Is this
fucked up.
something that's gonna get me on a watch list?
No, it's so
What?
funny, and it makes me think of Vito. After his whole radiator comment, I wanted to see that.
This is like the front cover of Rolling Stone in 1999. That's a 16-year-old, by the way.
Bro,
like
what the
trap.
fuck? Not on YouTube. The fuck? I don't know if I
Like,
can show that shit. The
I
fuck?
don't
Calm
remember,
down,
but-
Jay.
and then the
You
caption-
good, bro? Stop showing fucking Britney Spears
And the
photo
Asians
shoots,
are
you freak.
too. Wow.
Why?
That's a
Am I
16-year-old, by the way.
I guess
The
so.
Okay,
Asians need
dude.
to stop mocking us
Okay.
this stream. This is really fucked up.
Native Hawaiian and other Pacific Islanders.
Calm down.
Whites, we got to put up some numbers. Get the fucking.
The Asians just keep mocking us brutally. It's fucked.
Well, because with the Asians, you only got to make one kid, because you know that kid's going to do well.
Well, in some countries you were only allowed the one, so.
Yeah.
Even if school shootings, they still masked or mog the shit out of white people.
There are pedophiles in the DG community. There are pedophiles in all walks of life, Jay Keith. Okay? However, what I will say is apparently DGG had a particularly, should we say, enthusiastic reaction to Natalie Portman in Leon the Professional. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, but isn't that all driven up by that one guy?
We live in the
thank you
shadow
for
of
$2
That's like the only
Lucas.
one. That's like the only
the
guy.
one Asian school shooter and the best Asian and the best one. Columbine suck it. You had two people and you couldn't do it. One could. Unreal.
You remember when that Asian grandpa shot a bunch of people in a dance studio like 2 years ago?
I do remember that guy.
Nope.
That happened like a block from me. I went down there and streamed it while the blood was still fresh.
Did you really?
Yeah, I live streamed it the same night of the shooting, but I couldn't get any good footage because it was all police cordoned off.
Doesn't
And
surprise me at all.
it turned out he got banned from dancing. He got footloosed. That they said he was too aggressive with the women in the dance class. This like old Asian grandpa, so they banned him, and he came back and he killed them all.
It took from him the only thing he loved. I would react the same way.
He loved dancing so much that he had to kill all those fucking people.
Okay.
50 Cent is just Ruthia.
That happened today.
There's something
I
fucked
mean,
up there.
If you think about it, I believe.
Okay, I don't care about this Jay-Z and...
That's gonna be.
fucking
That's the
stuff.
guy who will statue. That's gonna be
Just toss him a basketball.
Around her house. Not.
Satire, the story that he's right. Mention social commentary after this, okay? Give it
Because
a
I
listen.
mean. And I've learned that I've changed since then. And so I start kind of chasing her around her house, not in like a fast aggressive way, but slowly like Like, and she's giving me like excuses, like, well, we're coworkers, or like, I'm not sure. Like, are you sure?
There's an
you
internal
wanna,
struggle
like,
going on with her, obviously. Yeah.
I think so, but she's like, don't you? She's like, are you sure you want to? Like, don't you want to? And then it's like, well, I don't want to mess up our friendship. And I'm like, well, everything you're saying is making me more excited. You're making it worse on yourself.
I'm
so
seeing where the internal horror of the sex comes from, because it sounds like a fucking horror movie. So yeah, keep going.
Yeah, I'm like, well, yeah, because she's like, I'm horrified by this. I'm like, of course you are. That's normal. Come here. And then so I chase her around her house. And she's also comically crawling backwards, like over her couch, like it feels like a game.
Yeah.
And then after probably
12 hours of weighing her down,
the sun comes up. No, after it felt like a long time. Probably in reality, it was probably like 5 minutes. But like, which is a pretty long time to chase someone in circles around their living room. Looking back, I finally was like, wait. Do you actually do you not want me to kiss you? And she was like, no, I don't want you to kiss me. And I was like, why didn't you just fucking say that? And she was like, I don't know. And I was like, are you like afraid I won't be friends with you or something? And she was like, I don't know. And I was like, oh, well, I don't, that's fine. I was like, I don't want to kiss that bad. Like, I don't care. Like, sure, well, we can be friends. And it doesn't matter to me. And she was like, oh, okay, well, that's great. Then let's like just talk. And then we just like hung out and we were like friendly after that. I did want to date her, so I felt a little stung. And then afterward, like I couldn't understand what happened. Like I like she rejected me, but I'd also been like semi-rejected or half rejected by women who then were later like, or girls, I guess, because I was 19, who would then be like, no, actually, I do really like you. I was just saying that. So I guess I just thought like they say no at first to see if it's okay with you that they're saying no. And I would say, on dating sites especially, they still. I still have this experience a lot. I'm not on dating sites now. Shaylin and I are monogamous, but before Shaylin...
I was fine with you. Go ahead.
Well, we could talk about monogamy.
Wait, does the story get worse than this?
There's nothing wrong with this story.
Not bad at all.
Yeah. Is this the right story?
Who linked it?
Ryle linked it.
Did he give this timestamp?
He gave this timestamp.
I mean, it sounds like he's maybe going to start talking about a different girl. Like, maybe skip ahead 2 seconds.
Maybe.
Or
maybe the same story gets worse.
My view is that monogamy and non-monogamy are both awful, just in different.
Oh no, he said the Tinder story. It must be this part where like it goes to the Tinder story, not that part, because he said it's the Tinder story. Okay, I think this is the.
Because it's all on a binary. Or it's all on a spectrum. I mean, sorry. Okay.
I might have also.
Here's the rape story.
No, I think that's a pretty stark about it. The reason that non-monogamy is awful is not included in the reason monogamy is awful. There's just like a flip flop of like, which fucking horrible thing do you want to poison your life with?
Gotcha.
And so for this relationship, we're choosing monogamy. My marriage was open.
Yeah, okay, you were crawling through the playground. What happened next?
I'm crawling through a playground.
Oh, and she said that you guys hung out for a while. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I told my coworkers the story, and they were like, "Dude, it sounds like she likes you. It sounds like she likes you, but she just wanted to make sure that you're like cool with her saying no." And I was like, I don't know. I couldn't tell what happened. And now looking back, I'm like, oh, she just like probably didn't like me, and I just chased her around her house, and she wanted to be friends, and probably thought that the only way someone would be friends with her is if she lets them think that they.
I do eat on stream, but I do it with my mic muted. Camera off, mic muted, eating quietly.
I'd have sex with her, which is a terrible way to make friends. But like, she didn't want to. She didn't say she didn't want to. I didn't check in for quite a while, and then finally when I did, I was a bit horrified by what I had done. And like, I'm telling the story like it's funny, because it is extremely funny, but I am still horrified by it, and it's an
I wonder why Steve gained weight when he moved to Miami. Very confused.
Embarrassing story. I'm not proud of that. I'm
Yeah,
not embarrassed by the Tinder story. This one was a mistake.
Sure.
And not a mistake, not an unlucky mistake. Like, it has a low probability of working to chase someone around their living room for however long while they're backing away from you, saying I'm not interested in it, or not saying that, but giving. Yeah.
Disgusting. Just sit there eating like this.
It really bothers me when somebody says no with a overcomable excuse.
I understand what you're saying, but
yeah,
I feel like it's because this is kind of what I said earlier. A lot of people don't like confrontation.
Conflict avoidant. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, oh, like we can't have sex because my parents are going to be home tomorrow morning, and it's like, what the fuck does that mean? Like, right? But they're just reaching because they don't want to say no because they don't want the conflict, right?
What happened with that girl is exactly what happened with Fosh.
What's that? Oh, where Vosh didn't want to say no to you?
He just didn't want to say no, and I chased him around in circles until he was like, no. And I was like, oh, you just really don't want to answer that question. Like, why didn't you just say you didn't want to answer it? And he's like, fuck you. I'm like, you could have just said you didn't want to answer it. That's all you had to say. But he kept giving excuses like,
hold on. Wait, did I just miss something?
They don't want to say no because earlier, a lot of people don't like confrontation.
Conflict avoidant, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, oh, like we can't have sex because my parents are going to be home tomorrow morning.
What? Sorry, I missed that the first time around.
It is fun, yeah. If you don't, yeah, don't understand. He's talking about literally if you are also a teenager.
I think, yeah, that's what he's in the mindset of, like, he's probably had that happen where, like, he's literally probably, I would think, just drawing an actual example he has from, like, high school, right? Or college, potentially, I don't know.
It's like,
but,
what
like,
the fuck
it's
does
just,
that mean? Right. But they're just reaching because they
But I think what I did was pretty violating.
It is funny.
And terrible.
Jesse sitting there like, yeah, from when I was in high school, right? That's a joke. That's a joke. That's a joke.
With like a unintentional boundary violation like that.
Yeah, my Discord
with some more nuanced
playing a fucking
understanding and what you're advocating.
I literally
asking.
God, I've got
earlier.
8 different things going on in my headphones. My stream is absolutely schizoing out. Sorry, I had a YouTube embed advertisement playing that I couldn't pause because the widget wouldn't let me pause while the advertisement was playing. So it just started playing an advertisement in Discord. That's fucking insane. Anyway, apparently this is where he actually tells this quote-unquote Tinder story that's really bad. Is on No Jumper with Flacco and Adam.
I'll tell the story so people can decide for themselves if I'm a rapist. But you're going to notice that these accusations are.
Oh.
You watch YouTube videos.
Dude, this is literally the best episode of No Jumper ever created. Okay, I'll say I will hear no other nominations. This was the best one they ever did. Dude, Flacco and Mr. Girl just going at each other. It was so funny.
Jay, how do you not have YouTube Premium?
I have YouTube Premium. It doesn't happen in Discord. Discord doesn't know that I have YouTube Premium because I don't know if I can give Discord my like cookies for YouTube so that I could say, here's my YouTube account. Just use my don't give me ads. Obviously, I have YouTube Premium in the shit I'm using. Why wouldn't I?
Confused. I don't understand how the ad happened then.
It was like an embed in a comment that someone else
Yes. Do you know how Discord does embeds?
No.
Okay.
Not
Don't worry
important.
about
Okay,
it.
moving on.
Start
Apparently, it's also got its own
stacking
video.
up that I'm a rapist. I'm a
uBlock Origin.
psychopath. I'm a pedophile. Am I a sexist? Am I a woman batterer and a woman abuser? I'm just every bad thing that we could possibly be, right? Okay.
Verbally abusive for sure.
Yeah, sure, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Absolutely.
You call her stupid, all type of shit. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot that Flacco had like giga smoke for Max. Like he hated him when he came on the show.
I went on a date with a woman on Tinder. She was 46 and I was 30. And I wanted to jack off in front of her. I used to do that a lot. I still do it sometimes. But I had a compulsion to masturbate in front of women. I've never really liked casual sex, but I like casually masturbating in front of women or getting hand jobs. I find it emotionally safe. It's physically safe. And I guess I just have a fetish. So for this reason, I hadn't had sex. I was getting divorced, so I hadn't had sex in like a year or something. So we go on this date, and she's like, "Sure, let's go back to your house, and I'll watch you masturbate." So I go back to my house, and I was like, all right, fine. Because like a lot of women are not really into that specifically. They're into it if it's all they can get, but like a lot of times they're like, I want to have sex, but like whatever. If this is all you want to do, fine. That's cool with me. I was like, all right. I was like, do you want to have sex? Fuck it. I was like, I feel like I need to have sex. And she was like, sure. Yeah. She was like, really? And I was like, yeah. I bestow upon you the great honor of Mr. Girl's dick. She said, okay. So she gets naked. We're making out. She gets on top of me and positions her vagina right on, touching my penis. So it's at the entrance. And it looks me in the eye and says, I'm not ready. And just keeps looking at me. And I don't do anything and she doesn't do anything. We're just sitting there frozen like that. And I was like, all right. I feel like she's looking at me like she's daring me to do it anyway. Or like it feels like she's calling me a pussy. And I was like, all right, well, fuck you, bitch. I'm not a pussy. So I push her down onto my dick. And then we had sex. And we talked. Then she asked me to have sex again like a week later. That's it.
I mean,
so I told this.
Yeah, I don't know where the fuck you get rapist out of that. I mean, she just
Well, I told
of saying
you called
I'm
it rape,
not-
though.
Well,
I called it rape because,
and I agree.
Well, that's fine, but the reason I made the video is because the video is called "Consent is Complicated." It's a video essay about how a lot of times no means yes, a lot of times maybe means yes, but also a lot of times yes means no. And legally, no means no and yes means yes. So legally, you can have sex with somebody who obviously doesn't want to.
That's the rape. That's the rape. He does describe it differently, where like there are different descriptions of it for sure.
Who is trembling and shaking and uncomfortable, as long as they.
Does Wes think this is comedy? If you think this is like as he told it right there, and some of you will have other recollections of different ways he's told the story that are worse. But if you think that story as he told it right there is like cut and dry rape, like he's a rapist, I feel like he's probably too autistic for this world.
Yeah, that's not rape, but it's not comedy. I feel like if he told it better in his own essay, it's probably comedic because I see how it could be funny, but he feels like he's giving a shitty retelling.
It was pretty funny.
Also, Flacco's kind of pushing him. The black guy clearly doesn't like him here, and he's like calling him a rapist before this. So
yeah, he's telling a story because he's getting pressed by Flacco hard.
Yeah.
It's so it's so simple. Like based on how he tells the story, he just wants to know if you would substitute, as he did, the verbal non-consent with like physical signs of consent or physical signs of interest. The fucking she's staring at me like she wants me to do it. That's
It's not just if you would do the same thing. That's not what it's not what it's about at all. It's about it. Dude, okay.
Sign of consent after she verbally said no. Would you consider it rape?
I guess what's like interesting about this is it's like there are all these people on like YouTube and elsewhere that'll go, well, he's a rapist. He said he's a rapist. And it's almost like it just shows that like there's different levels of this where like some people are willing to have like actually, you know, meaningful conversations about this stuff. And there just is all this like whole culture of like stupid fucking YouTube drama farming that goes, yeah, but did you hear what he said about cuties? He's a pedophile, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, all right, well, I don't want to interact with that fucking stupid sphere of things. I'd rather interact with this, you know, Mr. Girl guy who's got some interesting stuff to say.
So true. So true.
I feel like I was
or at least intriguing.
I feel like I could take Max's content from a distance. Probably the fact
So I don't want him to rape me, so I get it.
No, just like having conversations with him about some of the content.
You're too old for
and
him,
the idea that like the conversation almost feels like an extension of the satire of the making it controversial or antagonistic. I hated being part of that. And that's kind of like soured my whole like view of it.
He was fucking
I don't
awful
like
to
dislike.
you as well.
I don't dislike Max. I kind of see it. I have to see it a certain way, but then also I don't know. I
think there's a lot to dislike. I get it.
It's not fun to be part of a bit that you don't know if it's a bit.
I mean, I'll put it this way: is like I've done content with Max, and sometimes when he is on a stream, he kind of gets in like a different mode. Like talking to him off stream feels a lot different sometimes than talking to him on stream.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But you know, I've also had discussions with him where I go, listen, from like a branding standpoint, you do have to kind of present yourself in a certain way, and it gets a little bit complicated, you know.
Yeah, and part of it almost feels like stupid for me to have like wanted a conversation in the first place.
Have you ever gotten a chance to talk with him like off stream? Just, hey, what's up, man?
Yeah, we've talked.
I like that Max. He's more agreeable.
The impression I've gotten from Max's content is I could see some people feeling pretty offended by, because when he's doing his content, he plays up the whole thing. He thinks he's smarter than everybody. I've noticed that like quite a bit of the time he's talking. Like he'll basically be like, "You absolute fucking retard! How did you not consider that? Like I know exactly what you think." I feel like that wears on everybody. So I can see a lot of people not liking talking to him. Like that would make sense.
Sometimes he does. Sometimes he tries to be like a mind reader, where he goes, "Well, you're saying this, but I know you really mean this." And then people will get frustrated because they're like, "No, I know what I said, and I meant what I said." He's like, "No, you don't." And I'm like, "Oh, you're pissing people off with that shit."
Yeah, I think that kind of thing just pisses everybody off. If you ever do that, it's just like, it's a lot.
Yeah, but it's not just him that does it. I think he's infamous for it. It's most people in the debate space fucking do that. It's
But
just like a
sometimes he's right though, because there are some people that you show them that Britney Spears picture and you go, "Let's be real. If you were locked in a room with this girl and I said if you fucked her, I'll give you $1 million, would you do it?" There are some guys who would go, "No, I would never have sex with a 16-year-old." And you go, "Okay, you're lying though." Like maybe there is a certain percentage of the population that 100% would not do it, but I would argue most people, like, come on, don't be stupid.
The virulently homosexual population, yes.
Yeah. I'm gonna give you $1 million to fuck Britney Spears.
$1 million bucks?
Well, they'd say, "Oh no, because I'm a pedophile."
Probably not even them. Probably not even them, to be honest.
Everyone would.
No.
Most people would pay to be in that fucking room.
I think. Sorry, what he's saying is that a lot of people will virtue signal. They'll say, "No,
Yes,
she was 16. I would never."
I know what he's saying.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So they're lying.
Dean Withers would never.
He wouldn't.
He would take the money to go rescue that.
Gotta save her.
God.
All right.
I feel like Nessa, how old is Dean Withers? Because I actually feel like a hater, and he's probably too young to be so judgmental and so disgusted with him already.
Dude.
But I feel like he should be a failure for the rest of his life.
Fuck Dean Withers. Fuck Dean Withers.
Why? What did he do?
Cherry real as fuck for that.
Like,
fuck Dean
annoyed
Withers.
me without cringy.
Is it weird that I actually hate this song? I think it's like the worst Mr. Girl song.
A bunch of people in my chat are like, "This is the best song by far," and you have to.
Okay, guys, we are gonna finish this because I'm kind of waiting for like food. So we're gonna finish this VOD, but it is sort of like a Mr. Girl music review and shit for the last bit.